Here's my review of Circe. The book is a fast-paced, mostly plot-driven retelling of Circe, who is the immortal daughter of Helios and a nymph, who discovers that she has the ability to turn people into their true selves, which really doesn't ever work out well for anybody. So she gets banished to an island and a life of exile. I really liked it, and I thought it was a delight to read, but it wasn't the in-your-face feminist novel that I thought it was going to be, that the internet kind of told me it was going to be. What Madeline Miller does is soften Circe and the legends of Circe from the traditional way that she's portrayed in the mythology that's been handed down that was written by men. She's not the scary, unapproachable hag that we've been taught to avoid at all costs. She's just a woman with thoughts and feelings who uses her skills to make a better life for herself. She's a very sympathetic character, although I found myself yelling at her at times for some of the decisions that she was making. The book is told from Cersei's point of view. She's consistently defined and manipulated by the male figures in her life, and because she has rebelled against their expectations and been banished, she has nothing to lose in her sexual freedom. But she still pays a steep price for enjoying the solitude that they've forced upon her. The men in her life see her as something that they can use and abandon. Even Icarus, who I think was the only one who really loved her, gives Circe the loom, which becomes such a big part of her identity. Hermes, even after their affair ends, still pops up whenever he feels like it and gives her the gossip, which then stirs her to action or stops her from acting. And Odysseus uses Circe for well over a year. Then when he thinks it's time to return to Ithaca, he takes off and then takes up with Calypso for a couple more years. Even her son terrorizes her until he outgrows his tantrums. So although Circe is portrayed as a victim most of the time throughout the book, her first-person narration sets the record straight and underscores that her reputation as a witch comes from the inability of the patriarchy to deal with her independence and rebellion. Structurally, the book's parts follow Circe's desire for love, her pursuit of affection. I found the first part of the book really slow, like the first 60 or 70 pages. She falls in love with Glaucus, who's a mortal fisherman, and she turns him into his true self, which kind of turns out to be a jerk. And instead of falling for her, he falls for Scylla, and in a jealous fit, Circe turns Scylla into a sea monster and gets sent to Aea by her father. But once she gets to the island, the book picks up speed. The second part of the book follows her adult lovers, Hermes, Icarus, and Odysseus. Then Odysseus leaves when she's pregnant with Telegonus, although he doesn't know that at the time. And the child wreaks havoc on her life, just like her father and every man she's ever known. Circe sanitizes the stories that she tells Telegonus about his father because she wants him to think that he's noble, a noble warrior, and in doing so, then Telegonus decides he wants to meet his father one day and takes off to go to Ithaca and then accidentally kills his dad. Then Penelope, who is Odysseus's current wife, and Telemachus, his son, decide that they're going to go to Aea and live with Circe and Telegonus, and then things get a little weird. The climax of the novel is when Circe decides that she is going to go and fight Scylla in this epic battle. She wants to be done with the life of the gods forever. So she and Telemachus go to Scylla and Charybdis and have this big battle. From there, the book ends pretty quickly. It's tied up in a little bow, but there's enough dramatic irony in it that it doesn't turn out to be super corny at the end, just a little corny. Madeline Miller is writing to answer the questions: how have women's stories been distorted by male storytellers over time? And to what length will women go for independence and self-determination? Hearing anything like that from a woman's point of view tends to be a little radical, although this is not a radical book. I think Circe lives up to the hype. It's got beautifully wrought language, strikingly artful and consistent tone the whole way through, and it was a gripping and fast-moving story. It's really plot-driven. So all in all, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5, only because I don't really think this story is going to stick with me, and that's what I think is going to be my bar for a 5. something that I'm going to carry with me all the time. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm really glad I read it.